Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is presented by Sparks Hockey. Go to sparkshockey.com. Sunset Lake CBD. Go to sunsetlakecbd.com/morning brew. Use the code BRU20 for 20% off. Copeland Automotive Group. You can count on Copeland. Check out countoncopeland.com. And Fazenda Coffee. Go to fazendacoffee.com/morning brew. And welcome into Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. This one, a little different for us. Both Razor and I. It's usually remote Razor. It's remote Jaffe and Razor, as we're both on the road in Tampa, getting set for Sunday's Stadium Series game between the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Saturday Brew here on EEI. Not taking calls this time because we're both remote, but otherwise we're going to have at it for the next hour, talking all things Boston Bruins. And I say this every week, but we got a ton of stuff, Razor, to get to. First and foremost, though, travel down was good for you. It was all right for me.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful day here, right? Like, I know we're going to get to Sunday and it's cold, but today is actually a Florida day, which we lucked out and maybe can get some fresh air and get a walk in, and I feel rejuvenated.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to heading over to the football stadium, Raymond James, in a little while to see what the ice is like, the surface. They got the cover on it, the facility. So we'll talk about all that. Sunday is, the next day is going to be cold for Florida standards, which is going to be great for the ice. So I'm looking forward to that. I know you flew down with the Bruins Foundation and season ticket holders. I had a ton of Bruins people on my flight. I'm doing the national radio broadcast down here, Razor. And sadly, there was a person on my plane who had a seizure, right? So they needed some medical attention. He was okay, thankfully, right? Good. All good, everything, all right. And this is so Boston. He gets up at the end, and they had us all wait until the medical people came on board, right? He was all right. He apologized. Hey, I'm sorry, folks. And everybody's like, I know where he's going. Go Bruins! And then he left.
That's what we're doing.
That was perfect. So a ton of Bees fans on my flight heading down here. Sunday, going to be a fantastic day. The league does a great job with these events. We will tell you after the game what we thought about it next week on the podcast. But overall, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to as well, partner, talking about one of the hottest teams out there. Actually, we're seeing two of the hottest teams, and the Stadium Series in both Tampa and Boston. But the Bruins continue to do things wonderfully, in particular at home. We talked about how the 7 games that they had, starting with Vegas, were going to be a big part of their season. What was it going to set them up for? Real high or low? Razor, starting with Vegas, they've been excellent, winning all their games except the overtime loss to the Rangers this past week, a win over Montreal since you and I last talked here on EEI, a Rangers loss in OT, the Nashville game, they were able to grind it out after a crappy travel situation, and then they give it to the Philadelphia Flyers, a team that is in a little disarray, in my opinion. But overall, how impressed are you with what this Bruins team continues to do?
Very, very. We talked how much we like this team a month ago. We talked about how they seem to be putting everything together a month ago, and yeah, they've lost some games, but they're not out of it. And this month has just been awesome. Everything's clicked for them. The defensive zone, we got David doing David things. He didn't go away. He needed the holiday break, like he talked about, and has come out swinging. And what a month for this Bruins team. And now we're legitimately talking about playoffs. Now we're legitimately talking about them being hard to pull. Like at the start of the season, we're like, if they get in the playoffs, they're going to be really hard to play against. Now we're talking about that. Now it's legit. Now they're hard to play against every single night. And they've really banked a lot of points this month, which is so important. And we talked about separation. Was it going to come? Separation's coming in the Eastern Conference. Coming. And the Bruins are on the right side of that separation. And that's I don't know. It's exciting for me. I'm happy for the the guys and the coaching staff and what they've put into this.
I mean, as we, sit and talk here, this team is totally in the thick of the playoff race, right? With 67 points. They're technically the second wild card, yet they're tied with the Montreal Canadiens points wise. Montreal has played one less game. They're tied also with Buffalo, who has 2 games in hand. With all that said, they could be legit third place in the Atlantic. I mean, why not shoot for second? Although Detroit, I'll give them credit. They're better than I thought they'd be. But they could be the second wild card. They could also be the third place in the Atlantic. And I'm just so impressed with where they've gotten themselves to. And to talk about the last month, it really started with the game in Edmonton, New Year's Eve, the 6-2 victory. Since then, overall, 12-2-1, 15 games, and have given up 39 goals.
Yeah.
That's a winning form. I mean, scoring 62. I'm absolutely beyond thrilled and somewhat shocked still, my good friend, how good they are offensively. There's no way I saw this coming into this season. There's no way. And I know there's Pasta and Geeky, and he's back. There's no question about it. But it's the unheralded. It's the Fraser Mittens, right? You talked about the defense last week on I think it was Saturday Brew. It was about how the defense is providing the impetus for the secondary scoring, right? It's just so many different people that have come through. I'm shocked, Razor, that they have regularly been in the top 5 in the NHL for goals scored.
They're playing with some serious confidence, especially offensively, and real. You go to the power play too. No chance. I had no idea that they were going to be top 5, and now they're getting to the point where their percentage is they're going to have a hard time, even if they went cold. They're not dropping out of the top 7 or 8. Like that's just what they're going to be. They're top 5, 6 power play in the entire National League this entire season, and it continues to win them games. It's won them games this week. It kept them in games, and it's the offense is such a boon. The Arvidssons, the Mittens, the middle stats, like someone's getting 3 points every single night, and it's not just David. And again, it was Morgan Geeky carried them the first half. We didn't know what he was going to be like at the start of the season. What was that at the end of last season? He did that the first half. He got cold, but everyone carried him through that. Now he's getting hot again. It's the back end's getting points. Charlie McAvoy is an assist machine at this point now. So it's they're just a really good hockey team. That's what they are. We're 53 games. They're a hockey team. They're a legit hockey team. They've got it cooking. They're playing the right way. They're hard to play against. All the things we heard going into the season that they were going to be, they've turned out to be, and it just makes for an awesome 28 game stretch here at the end of the season.
At the very least, they've put themselves in a legit position to be a team that has to be thought about, right? Every game.
No question. And so again, like I'll jump forward a little bit here on this one just to look, because I was thinking about it the other day. Like they're 8 points up on the Florida Panthers. The 8 points up on the next closest team out of the playoffs. If they were 8 points down, we'd be saying, wow, that's really unsurmountable. Like that's going to be really hard to catch up. They're in the place where they're 8 points up. You can start backing into math here where 2, 3, 4 games over 500 gets them to the 97 point mark, where that'll be enough. And you also talk about how they've done it. And if you play the Boston Bruins in the first round, are you going to enjoy that?
No.
Is a team going to enjoy that? Are they going to? There's teams that would much rather play a few of the other teams that you mentioned early on in the first round than the Boston Bruins. If we get to that, I'm jumping way ahead. There's a lot of hockey still to be played, but we've played a lot of hockey and we've seen what they are, and there's no question they're hard to play against.
And teams not only hard to play against in an era of lack of or less intimidation.
Yeah.
We saw it against Philadelphia Flyers on Thursday night.
They couldn't do anything.
Right.
The Hathaways, the Lauriers could do nothing.
Yeah, and okay, I love the fact, and I love the fact as much as I love a good scrap.
Yep.
Okay, I love the fact that Marco Sturm, after he sees who's starting for the Philadelphia Flyers, Hathaway and Delorier, who neither had played the night before in Columbus. What does Marco put out there? He puts out Matt Poitras' line. Now we'll get into Matt Poitras. He puts out the third line. There's no chance at a dust up there, right? There's none. So instead of allowing the temperature of the game to elevate, he keeps it even, right?
Yep.
And he kind of neuters those guys, for lack of a better term. Later in the game, when Delorier, who was all horny for a scrap, no question about it, it was Kaslik and Jeannot doing their thing. Zadorov wasn't getting involved in it. There was conversation as well between them.
Yeah.
I loved how it was managed. And then late in the game, Jeannot was out there literally like Big Brother on the playground. Like, no, this isn't happening.
100%.
This isn't happening. Okay,
nope.
None of this. But if they wanted to, this is what I'm getting to. If they wanted to, the Bruins could have said, let's go.
Yep.
And they would have been more than happy to go with those guys. And that, to me, is not just hard to play against. There's still an element, Razor, of intimidation that has to be in the game.
There is, and it's there, and you can be intimidating by not putting those guys out on the ice. You can manage it a bunch of different ways. I thought they did the same thing against Montreal, right? We expected fisticuffs in Montreal, and the whole they did the same thing. Like, no, we're just going to play. We'll play tonight. We don't feel like this. This has been a long stretch, but if anything happens, we what's going to like if anything gets a little bit out of line, then we're going to send our three guys out and we're going to bully you. And the end of the season, that's really going to come into play. I think it started to come into play even in January. There's some teams that just don't want to play the Bruins.
Right.
I think we've seen that. The Nashvilles of the world, they just don't really want to play that game. They want nothing to do with it. In and out, let's get out of here. And that's why that home record of 9 in a row now is happening, because I don't think teams want to play in Boston.
So let's go to that home record of 9 in a row. Their last home loss came right before Christmas break, right? The 23rd, if I remember correctly, against Montreal.
Yeah.
Right. So the Bruins now, I'm just checking my facts because I don't always have them on top of my head, have 21 home wins. That's the most of anybody in the National Hockey League.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't guarantee anything, though, Razor. I don't need to tell you that. It guarantees you, though, that at least you can try to have a home ice advantage. We all know now that the rinks are 200 by 85. There's no more unique arenas out there that really created a different home ice advantage or disadvantage. But overall, the Bruins have owned home ice. And so if somehow, some way, if we really want to get ahead of ourselves, they can figure out a way to really elevate and find a way into home ice, that's great. I mean, that's just, phenomenal. But the fact is, whoever's going to have to play them come, if they make the playoffs, come into Boston Garden, and again, reel ahead, it is another advantage, just like intimidation. And maybe those two things go hand in hand. Maybe they do.
Yeah, I think they do. I really do think they do, especially this season with the way the schedule is condensed. They're being hard to play against. Them now getting defensive structure. It just gives you automatic wins. And that this week especially, we saw that for the first time. I think the Philly and Nashville game for me were ones where they have to win, they should win, and they did them both. Nashville got tight, but they had such a brutal day. Philly that was a blowout. Like we'll just step on you. You have no chance.
Yeah.
That's what's exciting.
Right. Once they got those first two goals, then you're like, okay, let's go. Yeah. Let's keep the clock going. Right. Let's roll it, and let's everybody get out here and get some rest. And thankfully the Bruins took care of business. We're going to talk about the injuries, because just when you think they're really in a great spot, I think just like every other team in the league, they get kicked.
Yeah.
You get kicked right in the butt.
Yep.
Not one, but two players out of the lineup now, in Elias Lindholm and Pavel Zacha. After the break, we'll get to that. And we'll also get, though, to the continued emergence of Fraser Minten. Not even emergence, ascension, as he just continues to climb in the eyes of everybody with his performance. We'll also welcome back Matthew Poitras. We'll talk about him getting his first opportunity this year, Razor, to wear the spoked B instead of the P for Providence. And Probably popped too many P's right there. I apologize for that. Using the remote microphone. So I apologize to anybody if that makes a popping sound. But overall, the Bruins, they have been able to withstand stuff. They got lucky also earlier in the week that the big guy, Nikita Zadorov, isn't out. How the hell he's not out after taking a hit? It was about a week ago, right? It was against Montreal. And I know we talked about it during the week on the regular pod, but the week in review, we got to mention how lucky they are that Nikita Zadorov is still in the lineup and missed just one game there, because that was scary. That was an absolute scary thing. All right. So coming up after the break, we'll get to all that. We got a lot more too. How about the youth that's coming through for the Bruins in many ways? So much to cover here. Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor on EEI. All right, welcome back in, Razor, you and I. It looks to be a little cooler than it was Friday, but looks to be a nice day. Although later, I think it's supposed to get cloudy and breezy a little later. So we'll have to wait. Bundle up. But Sunday's the bundle up day. I legit brought, I'm doing ringside. I'm on the glass for the national radio, but I actually brought long johns. I did.
I did too. And jeans. I packed them. We're gonna be outside all day. I'm packed. I packed long johns. I've got the layers. I've got a hat. The whole thing. I did not mess around.
No, not at all. Because you're also out there for a long time.
Correct.
And I've gotten soft in my old age too.
Into our bones. We're old.
But I am looking forward to it. Sunday, again, the Bruins take on the Tampa Bay Lightning, a Tampa Bay Lightning team. We'll talk about in our last segment, but has been ultra impressive considering especially all the players that they have missed throughout the season. Let's get to the fact, and we mentioned it, both Elias Lindholm and Pavel Zacha out. Nothing concrete. We know both are not playing on Sunday. Yeah. It feels to me, just feels that neither will play against Florida on Wednesday. I hope one of them can, but I kind of feel like if they could, wouldn't they have come down with the team for the whole Tampa thing, or am I overthinking it?
It's a good question. Florida's an easier flight, so and the fact, I guess I'll go half glass full in the fact that maybe they can play on Wednesday. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
The fact that tomorrow or today they're practicing. They're not going to practice outside, so you can't get rehab. They don't have trainers. It's in a stadium. It's not a good setup for injury people. Obviously, the outdoor, there's no chance these guys were playing an outdoor game. 0-0-0. You're never just throwing a guy out there for the outdoor game. Never, never, never. Then you have a day off Monday. Now, do they show up on Tuesday and practice? That I could see a possibility if everything goes well for them. When it comes to the Bruins, the injuries could not have come at a better time, because you have your top two centers. They're only going to miss 2 games.
Right.
Basically, from all accounts, it's not like 7.
Except these are both Olympians.
Well, that was my next point. This is where I was going next. From the Bruins' point of view, all is good. They're not 6-week injuries that they have from all accounts. We haven't heard that week to week. So they're playing February 26th against Columbus. That's good. The issue is personally for these two players, is they want to play in the Olympics. This is their chance to go to the Olympics. They're on Team Sweden. They're on Team Czechia. They want to go. They want to do this. Their hearts absolutely have sunk after both of those second periods. 1,000,000% right in their head is, oh my God, am I going to miss this? So are they with federations that want to see them play before they come? All personal matters come into play here over the next week. I'm curious about that personally for both of those guys. But for the Bruins' point of view, the fact that the top 2 centers are essentially only going to miss 2 games, the timing of that is pretty positive. One of them being an outdoor game.
Exactly. And the fact that they have a young player in Fraser Minten, who has shown that he is right now more than capable of stepping in. Or I say more than capable. Maybe, Razor, we do also have to take into consideration who he was going against.
Yeah.
meaning compared to some, although Tampa doesn't have Point in the lineups too. They have some other pretty good players, but good for, Fraser Minten. We've talked about him at length. Literally, we spent a whole segment pretty much last time on the last pod we did during the week. But he's just off the charts right now.
Yeah.
He's just showing a control on the ice, an awareness, a comfort, a calmness that, ends up making for a long career, health being the great equalizer, of course, or both the most important thing. But you can just look at him and you can actually say, I can see how he's just thinking the game out there. It's just, he actually simplifies it so much, and he still works his ass off back checking. Like, his back check stuff is fantastic. We see that it's like he's desperate all the time, but controlled desperate out there. Yeah. And offensively, like we saw against Philly, this is a nice simple pass, goes to below the goal line, right? Hits Arvidsson coming in. It's really impressive as all heck.
It is. He's building a little deception to his game offensively. He stick handled against Philly at the blue line, where he made him there's no chance he was trying to pull that off 2 months ago. So he's building that confidence. And you said it, he doesn't, even when he's back checking, it doesn't look like it's really hard for him. It doesn't look like he's the guy going a million miles an hour in on the forecheck to hit a guy and just try and get the puck and he's controlled all the way.
All the time.
Thinking the game the whole time, in the right spot. It goes to good players, right? Good players in the NHL, they don't block shots. And they don't block shots because they're always in the right spot. And they don't allow play. That's where Fraser Minten's got himself now, where he's the guy not sliding to block a shot because he's in the right spot all the time. He's not fighting to get on the back. He's not fighting in the offensive zone to be above the puck, because he's already there. He's already in a spot. And that's he's a National Hockey League player. He has continued to get better over 53 games, which I think is hard for a young guy without practicing, without doing extra. And he's found a way to do that with his brain, and it's paying huge dividends for the Bruins.
It's also hard to do on your body. And it's the sense of, because now there's no practice, so there's hardly any time to rest. I don't really know how much he's resting compared to what he was used to not last year because he was a pro, but it was different schedule.
But still, last year. Yeah. No, that's right. You're getting all week off.
Yeah, this is different now, and the fact that he's able to do this has been, obviously a godsend for this team, because it without Zacha now and without Lindholm, it was interesting. We thought he was going to play with Geekie and Pastrnak against the Flyers.
They flipped them quick, huh?
And then they did, and then they flipped it right away. Actually, in warm up, they flipped it.
And it worked perfect,
didn't it?
It goes to Sturm again, right? Like, feeling like I really wanted to hear why he made that change so quickly, because they scored back-to-back shifts with that change.
Yeah. I think it was that, if I remember, Jay Leach was talking to our buddy Adam Pellerin.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, I got one ear on, one ear off listening or not. They were talking about it because Adam said, "Hey, can you tell me why this decision was made to change?" And he said, "Well, I'm in charge of the defense, Adam. You should," he was getting him a hard time. But then he said, no. And I think it's something to do with last year, Zacha, Geekie and Pasta played together as well. So they knew there was chemistry there. And I'm guessing it was just a gut thing to go with that, to see how it goes, especially at home. You can load up that line at home.
Yep.
You don't need to balance it out. And it worked. It was just amazing how it worked for both lines. So that's phenomenal. It's great to see Matt Poitras, I said in the first part of our show today, back up. The offensive numbers have been solid, if not very good. Not great down in Providence. He's not averaging a point a game like he did last year, but his 200-foot game is better, much better by all indications. People talk about the details to his game, etc. By the way, both Minten and Poitras, both 2022 second-round draft picks. One 38th, one 54th. Minten at 38, Poitras at 54th. Both centers. Both are going to be very valuable to this team. I'm guessing, again, we know for Sunday, we know for the outdoor game for sure. I also think, listen, it's probably both games coming up. Again, just my hunch. But what an opportunity for Matt Poitras. He played under 12 minutes, 11 something in the game against Philly. He hit 5 shots on goal.
Yeah.
Arguably, he had the best chances not going in, which I don't know if that really means anything. But in the first period of Lone Razor, he had 3 shots on goal. He looked to me, I may be a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger, but not much. But he looked good. He looked very confident. He had his head up. I thought his pace was good. I mean, that's going to be the thing for him. Pace, avoiding contact at times, and being able to sustain it. I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah. And I hadn't thought about it. The point the second point of not getting, he didn't get smoked. He didn't get hit. We'd seen him taking a lot of body and putting himself kind of in his backhand spot where he was vulnerable to get closed out on. He didn't do that the other night, which was a good thing. I hadn't thought of that until right now, since you said it. He did have the best chance in the first period. Harrison made a great glove save. It was fun sitting on the couch with Bergie. He talked about he'd love to see Poitras move his feet a little bit more through there. And it's a simple little thing. You just move your feet just a little, give a little bit more deception there. Take a chance. If he moves his feet a little bit, maybe Harrison has to respect him taking it to the net. He can't just sit on that high glove shot. Couple little interesting things there, but all in all, it was a good game. And now, he looks like he's going to have a very good opportunity in the next 2 games to really show before this break. And what's going to help him as well is that he's going to play all the way through this break. You could see a scenario where coming out of the break, the Bruins are going to look to those guys in Providence for the first week of that season who play all the way through to kind of help everybody work themselves through. They've got 7 guys going to the Olympics. You're going to want to find some time for them. Plus all the guys that go on vacation, you're going to want to find some time for them to get teed up as well, or maybe take advantage of a guy like Poitras, who's played all the way through, and put him in the lineup against Columbus, where he has legs more than the Columbus guys. So lots of opportunity. Good to see Matty up here, and you hope he takes advantage. I think the fact they won is always positive. You're really at the mercy of the rest of the team in some situations as a young guy, and getting an easy win against Philly, it goes a long way for the way the coaches think of how Poitras' debut was.
He was 2 of 7 in the face-off circle. That's going to be something. I mean, those come and go, up and down, but that will be, somewhere to continue to work on as well. That's just part of it. But the fact now that you've got 2 guys, both 2022 picks, same age, potentially. I mean, one, I hate to, I shouldn't say I hate to say it. One appears to be a lock.
One's an NHLer. He's an NHLer. What we can argue, second line, third line, whatever. Yeah. He's an NHLer. He's going to play. He's playing 600 games. I don't see a scenario he isn't.
The other guy was up for a bit, a lot more, obviously, early in his career. Then he's faced the adversity, if you want to call it that, the challenge of remaining in the league. And now he gets this chance. And there's a good chance in the game against Tampa tomorrow that you might see Murat Husnudinov at center too, because we haven't seen anybody called up yet as we sit and do this show. I mean, could they put Husnudinov at center? Now you're now talking 2 smaller centers in Husnudinov and Poitras, but you might not have a choice. And Husnudinov, another 2nd round pick, albeit in the 2020 draft. I like him at wing more, just a me thing, but the kid is such a gamer. That's the every time I watch him, I'm like, gamer.
Yep.
He wanted his chance. Reminds me a bit of Morgan Geekie like that. Now, Geekie didn't get offered a contract by Seattle, and then he was a UFA. Murat got traded by the Minnesota Wild, but he knew he could do more. He wanted more. He's showing he can do more. Now he's going to perhaps have to show his versatility, come the game against Tampa as a center, which would be a big ask, but we saw him do it a little bit earlier in the season too.
No, he did. And whether, they have options. Middlestad's an I'd be curious if Middlestad gets a little bit of love at center ice. I don't think they love him on the wing. Yeah. They love him on the wing, but does it become a scenario where it's a Poitras Middlestad taking draws, or a Middlestad Husnudinov? Anyways, nonetheless, Husnudinov has allowed them to not be so concerned about this for a couple of games because of his gamer mentality. You can
Boy,
put him through the first 3 lines, no question.
No question. Husnudinov against Philly had the goal, the empty netter, but how about that great chance just to begin? And the kid flies, man. He does. He is relentless. He gets after it. It'll be interesting to see where they position him because he's kind of becoming, I've said this before, kind of helps make the line he's on better just with his presence of energy,
Yep.
and the way he is a heat-seeking missile for pucks. And he's not out of control. He's really controlled out there, in fact. He's not one of those guys who's running people from behind. His speed, though, is very important to this team. And speaking of Middlestat, he had 3 points against the Philadelphia Flyers, goal and 2 assists and a +3. Was that his best game as a Boston Bruin? I think that was by far. I know it's his first 3-point game this year. Points don't always mean everything, but for an offensive guy, they mean a lot. But you know what? I just felt like we heard his name mentioned so much in that game that I think I'd have a hard time remembering a better one than he's had, Razor.
No, and again, it goes to the fact that he doesn't get it. He only had 16 shifts. So you get 3 points on 16 shifts against Philadelphia. So every 5 times he's on the ice, he's getting a point. Like that's legit. So he's really taking advantage of his 5-on-5 play. He's doing it all 5-on-5. That's the other point of that. And he's really, whatever Arvidsson and Middlestat are doing together on the ice, it's the same idea of Husnudinov, where they just make stuff happen. They're driving, they're getting chances, they put pucks to the net, they retrieve pucks well, they stay out of their zone really well. And I would concur that Middlestat had as good of a game as he's had all season.
Let's do the Apex most entertaining moment here of the week, and it involves Murat Husnudinov.
Yes.
And it's the overtime winner against the Nashville Predators. I'm not even going, I'm all about democracy. Everybody's got to vote. But Razor, I'm just naming it the most entertaining moment of the week. It was 15 seconds, not, it's Apex, 100,000 square feet of pure fun, right? So this was 15 seconds of pure fun, right? By Murat Husnudinov, Charlie McAvoy, and David Pastrnak. And let's also give mention to Mark Kastelik for winning the faceoff, and then also Keto for getting the skate blades, replacing the blades for Murat Husnudinov to get him back onto the ice right at the beginning of overtime, right after Kastelik had won the faceoff, did his job, and then got off. That's got to be your Apex most entertaining moment of the week. Check out Apex in Marlborough, 100,000 square feet of pure fun. What an overtime, in the sense of you literally couldn't have scripted it any better, partner. Just the way that they executed that play.
No, the 3-man weave was perfect. The draw, the win of the draw, the fact Charlie's waiting over on that right side to go up and grab it, the fact that David picks and plays so hard right off of the face-off, doesn't let his man get anywhere near that puck, where Kastelik wins it to the right side of him, and Charlie just driving. And then setting up that weave with the back door. You would do that. That would be you would draw that up as a coach for overtime without anybody else on the ice. And like, this is what we want to do. Is Nashville basically wasn't even out on the ice for that play. And it was a thing of beauty. And your best players driving the net like an animal.
Right. There were 4 drop passes made in the zone. Okay.
No.
And I went through replayed it a handful of times to make sure it's accurate. One time was there even body contact, and it was minimal, from a Nashville Predator. It was O'Reilly, I think, on McAvoy. Yeah, on McAvoy. Like, literally, they were in such scramble mode from the second that Charlie McAvoy took off with his initiation of the speed with the puck right down that right side. They never got into any structure whatsoever.
They weren't ready. They were not Nashville, ready. Like flat out NHL overtime. None of those 3 players, O'Reilly and Yossi, weren't ready. Maybe Hall of Famers weren't ready for that.
They literally didn't touch a Bruin until and they kept reaching and hoping to take ice. It was spectacular to watch. As fun a moment as we had, you could tell by the giddiness of their celebration.
Yeah, they loved it.
They absolutely loved it, and they were tired. They were tired from that day. Have you recovered from that day as you were part of that? You've had a busy week. You had extra travel there. You got travel this weekend down to Tampa, where we're both at right now, getting ready for the game against Tampa and the Stadium Series, coming up tomorrow. What are you okay? I get worried about you because I know how much you like your sleep partner.
I do like my sleep a lot, and I didn't get much of it. I'm looking forward to Tuesday when I get after the bean pot Monday night, because we're not going to get any sleep that night either.
No.
The Tuesday, Wednesday will be nice for that, but I don't have to play. I can't. Again, I was on fumes having to do that and show up to the rink. I'm so impressed with the fortitude those guys had, because they could have easily mailed it in, and they did anything but.
That becomes a mind over matter situation.
100%. And that's again goes to why you have to like this team and why you have to really like their chances to close this out, because they're not doing it all the numbers and the offense that we're talking about are all great things, but they're really doing it, all of those things, because of their mindset and because they want to be hard to play against, going back to all of that.
It's impressive. It's really impressive. All right, we got one more segment coming up. Couple of things I want to get to. So stick with us right here. You're listening to Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. All right, welcome back. One more segment here. Saturday Morning Brew, Jaffe and Razor, getting you set for the Sunday game tomorrow in Tampa, where the forecast is showing pretty sunny, but a high of 46 on the day, but 42 it's showing for the 6:30 face-off.
Ice will be good.
Ice will be perfect. It'll be absolutely gorgeous.
It's really a perfect temperature to play a hockey game in.
It is, yeah. And I'm looking forward. I don't know. I'm heading over in just a little while to go see what it's like. Are you heading over there, or no? You're going to stay away till Sunday?
I'm going to stay away till Sunday. So I'll get your intel.
All right, looking forward to that. A couple of things I want to get to. We were just talking about the travel situation before break about what the Bruins had. The planes couldn't be there. Then they had to they take the bus, etc. The digging out, all that stuff. All kidding aside, I mean that was as brutal a travel. Now, it wasn't flying in day of, and I don't know if the league would have allowed that even. I mean, I guess they would in special situation. But having to wait for the buses and everything, it's not the end of the world, but it does throw everybody off. I'm assuming you've had tough travel days. I mean, we've all had it. Can you think of one that was really, really bad? You can quick story on, or no?
Not day of, not to like play the game like that. Lots of nights where, a couple nights where you had to take buses, or a couple nights where planes get canceled and you end up, screwing your week up doing it. But nothing like this, like nothing of just, and the problem is the uncertainty, because the entire night of the Ranger game, it's like, maybe we're going to fly, maybe we're not, what are we going to do? And then you have to go check back into the hotel. So it turns into a late night just from that. You don't get any sleep because you got to get up and do it all again in the morning. I think the issue was they didn't want to wait on the plane on Tuesday morning. Yeah. They were hoping, but they couldn't be assured that all right, not enough waiting, we'll just get on the bus and go. Fortunately, they were in New York and not Nashville, where maybe they don't get out. But I never had a bad one. It was funny, Bergie was telling a story where he kind of had a similar situation where the plane from Boston didn't leave the entire day. Sat on the plane all day, sat on the tarmac, couldn't go, waited till the next morning. We're going to fly the next morning. They get to the plane, can't fly, so they get them a bus. They drive them to New York City, and they get smoked 7-0. And so that's the reality of those situations most of the time. As much as your hockey karma is trying to do the right thing, that the other team has no pity for you and they just step on you. And that goes to why the Bruins win against Nashville was so good.
I've had a handful of crappy travel scenarios. One that always stands out for me is when I was with the Atlanta Thrashers organization. We're coming home from Montreal, snowstorm, whatever. We get in late into Atlanta. It was a Pearson International, and at the time called that. And long story short, we pull in. We were clearing customs there, and we pull in there, and
no customs.
No, they're sleeping. They don't know where they are. The guys had fallen asleep somewhere. So we're literally sitting on the plane for hours. And finally, because they don't come to get us or anything, we finally got. I think we got out of there at 4 something in the morning, got home at 5:15, like,
Turn it
maybe
around.
5:30, turn around. Yeah. But thankfully, again, I wasn't playing, just having to yap about it. Couple things I want to get into here quickly. Jeremy Swayman, in my opinion, lead dog right now to start for Team USA.
Yep.
I know we're not worried about that per se. We got 2 more games to get through. I'm going to guess, do you think he plays both? Do you think he plays both games, or do you think he splits? I can't imagine you don't give him the outdoor game, right?
No, he's
Or
playing the outdoor game.
Right.
There's no
Maybe,
way that he
yeah.
does, and he's got his new yellow, bright gold. I can't say yellow, bright gold gear.
It's beach gold, Razor.
Beach gold. Yeah,
Yeah,
beach gold.
come on, get with
that
it.
right. I know I got to get it right.
I'd be interested to see if he does or doesn't. I mean, I do think he's the lead guy right now. I think over Ottinger and Hellebuck. You said it before. You think everybody's going to get dressed at some point during the playing of the Olympics, but I'd say right now he'd be my guy. This is not Homer talk here. This is result driven.
Yep.
What he's doing.
No, he's done he could not have done a better job putting himself in a great position. Being up against the MVP of the league last year, the guy who played all of the 4 Nations games other than the one that didn't matter. But we're going to see Jeremy Swayman in the Olympics, and that will be a great thing for Bruins fans.
And we're also going to see Hampus Lindholm in the Olympics, as he was named the other day to the team Sweden. You could tell that he was feeling it, and he was revved up over that. He was jacked up about it against Nashville. I thought he had a real good game. I know we mentioned it during our pod during the week, but it's worth mentioning again. There was one man breakout that he absolutely shot out of a cannon, took the puck from one end all the way to the other. So congrats to him. That's literally huge. I mean, it's huge because these guys, they all need confidence, and this is just a huge boost for him. So it can only help.
Yeah, agree. He's the kind of guy who's going to come back from that and really be in a good spot. Hampus Lindholm.
All right, real quick, the Tampa Bay Lightning, just to get you set for the next game, 16-1-1. You heard that right. 16-1-1 in their last 18 games. We just got about 2 minutes or so here, Razor. The biggest news for them is that they're doing it without Victor Hedman. There's been so many other injuries. Braden Point has been out. They've only given up 41 goals in those 18 games. I mean, there's some names on this team I pride myself on knowing, guys. I'm like, who? Who's this? Who's that? Unbelievable job at keeping the cupboard full there. Julian Breezeball, their GM, has done a magnificent job keeping this team depth up to high standards.
He has, and Coop's as good as it gets, and coaching them up. And then you have the best goal, like, again, as good as Swayman's been. It's Vasilevsky's still the man, and he keeps showing it. Showed it over the last month or 18 games of this run. He's as good as it gets, and that'll be something the Bruins have to deal with on Sunday night is scoring on the Big Cat.
Nikita Kucherov, speaking of scoring, been one of the big guys along with McDavid and McKinnon all year. He's got 82 points on 27 goals, 55 assists. He may be the best. Well, I think he is the best fake shot passer in the game. He might be, top 3 passers overall in the game. He can be a bit up and down, petulant here and there and everywhere. But you've got Gensel, Hagel, Cirelli. Again, Point has missed some games this year. He's missed, I think it's upwards of 15 games.
Yep.
But the depth they have, young guy by the name of Darren Radish, not that young, but he's having a career year. No Victor Hedman, though. It's going to be a great challenge. We're looking forward to seeing Razor that. But the outdoor game, I think it equalizes things. It isn't a slam dunk, I think, for one team over. Hey, I did the Winter Classic, and the Rangers throttled Florida. So take that for what it's worth. Yeah,
no, it does. It certainly equalizes and how they deal with it. But either way, it's as good of an outdoor game when it comes to standings and who's the 2 hottest teams in the league playing each other. It won't just be all eyes on this game because of the outdoor factor. It's going to be all eyes on Eastern Conference teams are going to be watching this. What are we up against?
All right, we're looking forward to it, Razor. We'll talk to you before then. We'll hit you up in the evening, and then I'll see you at the building for sure. That wraps it up for Saturday Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor here on EEI. Thanks for listening, folks.